Hey guys, Manic Recurring here, and so last night I could not sleep at all, and so I took a really late night walk at like I don't know, it was like 12:30 or 1:30, maybe even like 2, and it was just weird because I noticed that there were so many like cars driving by on the road for so late at night in the middle of the week, and just thinking I wonder if there's a quarter moon because I just noticed stuff like that on, especially on full moons for sure, but or quarter moons as well. Though there'll be just more people up like late at night when they usually aren't. And I just looked it up this morning, and sure enough, excuse me, sure enough, there's a quarter moon today. It's actually happening around midday today, in Aries with the sun in Cancer. But last night, right when I was taking my walk, that was right about the time that the moon entered Aries. And so that's the Aries Cancer or Cancer Aries square, in my observation, is one of the most volatile, the most gritty, along with the Aries Capricorn square. Because, especially with the sun and moon, because here, the sun is in a very lunar sign of Cancer, and the moon is in a very solar sign of Aries. The sun is exalted in Aries, but it's in Cancer, and the moon is in domicile in Cancer, but it's in Aries. And so they're almost kind of backward, and they're both in these cardinal signs. So the energies that they share, that they have in common, is that they're both independent or personal. They both are projecting their own desires. They're both initiating. They're both projecting what's inside of them outward, and creating a new direction or a new path. And that's why it's so volatile, is because when you have two different modes, well, it's the same mode, but two different elements, they're both projecting their own new path. So I know this is getting kind of abstract, but the moon the moon is supposed to be our feelings and our emotions and our intuition and our core selves. And the moon's usually more comfortable in like grounded signs, like we want to be more grounded, more earthy or watery on the inside. But the moon's in Aries, so it's out of place. It's feeling crazy. Like we might want to go party. We might want to be very active, especially with the quarter moon. So the moon's almost kind of uncharacteristically very active and spontaneous and impulsive. But then the sun, which is supposed to be spontaneous and impulsive, and supposed to be our outer side, how we project ourselves outward, that's in Cancer, which is more Cancer can be outgoing, but it's more introverted, more sensitive, and so that's why I say it's almost flipped. And the moon is in Aries, so it's very sure of itself. Like the Aries is definitely wanting what it wants and going forward and trailblazing. But the sun is in Cancer. Cancer is also very sure of what it wants. It's like, no, I want to be more conservative, more chill. Let's just stay at home, just hang out with people I already know. And so these are just different energies or themes that come about with each of these placements, but they're completely clashing together. And so it's just more energy, more crazy energy, more more things up in the air, more accidents, more. It's just kind of I would expect today to be a little bit of a crazy day. So if you're working or whatever you're doing, it I just would expect that. I'd expect it to be a little bit volatile. Another aspect we have today on the first is Mars opposing Saturn at 12 degrees. So Mars is at 12 degrees Leo and Saturn is at 12 degrees Aquarius. I mentioned this in the video I made for late June and early July, but with these oppositions with Saturn and with Mars, these are two malefics, and so they tend to bring up quote unquote bad events, or turbulent events, violent events. Mars can trigger accidents, and it can be kind of violent. Saturn, especially Mars opposing Saturn, there's some intense friction there, and especially with these oppositions like that I would really see potential for a major accident happening, a violent accident, someone getting hurt, Like bloodshed. Mars rules fire and bloodshed and accidents and masculinity. Could be. It doesn't even have to be a physical fight. It could just be two people like arguing or fighting or conflicting. This is like a battle of some sort or a war or an accident. And it doesn't have to happen. Not, it won't happen for everybody, but I definitely see that potential happening, especially with the quarter moon, especially with the sun and Cancer, moon and Aries. And so this can be good. um, for Mars opposing Saturn, that one I'd say would be hard to take advantage of because it's not a fun energy. It's not. It'd be hard to even use it to be productive. You'd make people motivated, that's for sure, but we'd all be kind of motivated about different things. Like we're all kind of on a different page right now at this time, just for these couple days, from June 30th into July 2nd or so. For these couple days, we might be very energetic and impulsive, and like we know what we know, or we're feeling what we're feeling, and we're very confident about it. And we're like, yes, I'm doing this. I'm doing blank, whatever it is for you. But we're all on these different pages and clashing together. It just doesn't seem like a very harmonious or social time. In general, I was just looking at the planets, and there's a lot of fire and water planets. And still there's some, there's Pluto and Capricorn, like it's been forever. And I mean, there's some Earth and air planets, don't get me wrong, but the chart just looks more fiery and watery to me than what I've seen in a long time. And so that's very different. I mean, the early 2020s are generally very earthy and airy, especially earthy. And so we're used to this now for the past few years now, actually, of a more dry energy, more detached, more logical, more. And I know people have been very upset and crazy during these times, but at the same time, it's been almost kind of detached. I don't know. That's how I feel anyway, and that's what I see in the astrology. But now with these water and fire planets, I think we feel more, and that can be good or bad. That can be a Pandora's box. But we feel more, and so I think it's easier to develop connections or to have fun. But it can also be a double-edged sword and be maybe painful. We're maybe wearing our hearts on our sleeves a little bit more at this time. Although I believe Chiron is retrograde, and so in that aspect, Chiron's been in Aries the past couple of years, and we have been very open about our wounds. We're very upfront about that, and Chiron. If Chiron is your wounds, and it's in Aries, then it's broadcasting that, and we're all just very vocal about our insecurities and our past traumas, which is good. I mean, that's good. It's good to be honest and upfront about where you are and where you've been, and to be open about that. But at the same time, it's like when I saw Chiron go retrograde, I thought that's nice. We could use a break. Maybe it's best to keep some things a little bit internalized. And maybe that's okay to just some extent. You can still be honest, but we don't all have to be like screaming babies at the same time. You know, like we can just tone that down a little bit. But right now, I wouldn't say we're like screaming babies, but we're all like we're like unorganized soldiers, I would say, during these couple days in very, very early July. We're like we're like yeah, we're all like soldiers, but we're not in a big troop or army. We're just scattered. We have no direction. We're conflicting with each other and having little battles. But this looks like it'll mellow out over the weekend. So, but just for these couple days, I just figured I'd give you a heads up, just because I don't know, it just looks a little bit crazy to me. And I guess I forgot to put the chart up like I usually do, but I guess this is more like a podcast. So, Anyway, just figured I'd put that out there. So, tell me how this has been for you. Have you been seeing accidents, or have people been more riled up, in your opinion? I know they were for me yesterday, and I'm expecting more of the same today. But hopefully, if we know these things, we can bring our own energy to the table and kind of help smooth things over, or help be the rock, I guess, or the anchor.